Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Irons United for our match preview of the Everton game, which of course is at the London Stadium, 3 o'clock on Saturday. My name's Anton and I am joined by Stel. Stel, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Well, I don't really know if I'm good. We've had an exciting week with interviews. West Ham board, the Brady bunch are all over the mainstream media, Sky News, Evening Standard, and tonight with David Gold and his special on TalkSport. We will be doing a gift of the gab soon, but I mean, it's relevant. So before we go on to Everton, let's just briefly talk about this media approach that the three owners have taken. Stel, what's your take on it?
Bad timing, isn't it, really? I know why they've done it. They've tried to sort of deflect any attention from the disaster that's been the last 10 years. But I think, as usual with West Ham board, it's just backfiring on them. Unfortunately, I listened to the very first few minutes of the Gold interview today when he talked about missing the urinals at the Bowl-In.
I just want to rephrase exactly what he said. He actually said, when I went to the stadium and I realised that time and time ago that things have changed from the time when he was growing up. Things like the chicken run have gone, and the urinals have gone.
Yeah, and the urinals have gone.
And I was just sitting there and I was thinking, huh? What? And I was thinking to myself, do I need to contact my dad and ask, is there a hidden thing? Like, it's just like it's like when my son grows up, he'll ask me, Dad, what's the chicken run? Like, have I missed something in West Ham's history? Is there something about the urinals that I didn't know?
Yeah, he's not going to ask you about the bloody urinals, is he?
No, he's certainly not.
That's even I've missed something in all the years I've been going there. But I didn't catch a lot of it. I literally caught just those first few minutes, and I've caught the snapshots of the Brady interview. Where she bragged about having spent £200 million on players and a world-class manager and how it all went wrong, etc. And not seemingly to take any blame really for what's happened over the last 10 years. I think that's the sad thing about it all. That the board, the only strategy the board have had in the past 10 years has been about to move out of the Bowl-In.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, because when you talk about our scouting setup, apparently another scout has left and we're down to something like 2 or 3 scouts for you.
And I think they're advertising a voluntary position. Apparently, I don't know if
a voluntary position.
Apparently, there's I don't know if that's just a rumor or. I mean, I can quickly try and check that out now while we're talking.
But I mean, that just sort of goes to show that the reason why I'm upset. I mean, yeah, I didn't want to move from the Bowl-In, but I kind of accepted at the time all the messages that they were knocking out, saying it's got to be for the next level up and blah 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 and all that sort of stuff. And I was reluctant. I mean, I started going to the Bowl-In when I was 14, and that's a long time ago. And
really?
And I used to drag my brother down there, who wasn't even a West Ham fan. I used to drag my daughter down there. And stuff like that. So everyone was really upset with that. But we all kind of thought, fair enough, if it's for progress. But it's just the way the board have come out this week and just seem to sort of like absolve themselves of any real responsibility. It's like, it's a project and it hasn't worked kind of thing. That's life sort of attitude. And it's like, well, no, that isn't life. For you, that's life because it's a business. For us, we're fans. We're lifelong fans. And we have a very different feel and a very different approach to what happens with our club. And and I just think their timing of their interviews this week has been. David Gold should never have been interviewed. He sounds like a frail old man who doesn't really know what bloody day it is, to be honest with you. And it's such a shame, and it really is a shame because
he's the one. He's probably one of the owners that I can stomach normally, to be honest. And I want to be able to stomach him more if he just doesn't talk. And but then, do you know what? Still, I don't know. I mean, people are coming in here already saying that West Ham have actually got 1 scout and are about to start a process of advertising for voluntary scouts on the system.
I mean, it sort of proves. you know, when we talk about next level progress, etc., there's got to be a system in place. And I did a couple of weeks back, I did a comparison between Leicester and West Ham, and how Leicester have got a system in place when the new owners took over, and they said, we've got a plan, we've got a template, a blueprint of what it is they wanted the club to do, and the type of players that they wanted to attract, and what they were going to do with the youth system. And every time they bought a player in, it had to fit into that blueprint. You know, they got a strategy, and it's worked for them. They've won the league. They're doing really well in this season, you know, and it's and what we do is it doesn't look like it's a strategy. It's just like it's scattergun, and it's, you know, we keep being linked to the next big star in world or European football, and then always come out with, oh well, we tried, but we just didn't get him past the line, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like, it just all feels a bit scattergun, you know. And if I run my team the way, you know, West Ham run the club, that the board run the club, my team would be up in arms, you know. Because what you do is, like any business, you put a strategy in place, you talk to your, you know, your people that work for you, and you talk about how you're going to achieve that strategy, and what role everyone plays in that, and what the long term, what the short term and the mid-term and the long-term aims are. That's how you run, you know. And it doesn't feel like that's what's in place with West Ham. The one strategy they had was, let's move out of the bowling and let's go into the London Stadium, because it's going to save us a shitload of money. And that's been it, you know. And now they're just sort of like this arbitrary, this 200 million that Brady said that we spent over the last couple of seasons. We have, but how much money have we made back with all the sales of players, you know? And then when you look at the players that have gone out and the players that come in, it almost doesn't match, you know. Look at us. Look at the state we're in with, like, the goalie situation and stuff like that. It's one disaster after another, it feels, and it's such a shame.
Did you see Matthew? I know this is the Everton preview, but again, it's relevant. Did you see Matthew Upson's statement? Matthew Upson's statement about the training facilities at West Ham. I mean, and a lot of them were reporting the Championship clubs have by far better training facility for the players. But just quickly, there's loads of comments. I mean, I can't even keep up, and I think we've got Matt on the chat tonight, so just keep them coming in and get the comments in. But there's a couple of comments I want to just quickly pick up on. We haven't really touched on it, and I don't really want to massively touch on it tonight, but I'm going to ask a couple of questions back into the group, and I want some answers back. Now, I've been kind of inactive, deactivated my personal Twitter account a good, 6 months ago. I think you've done the same still. We really don't really keep an eye on the Twitter accounts much at all. We actually have come quite a bit away from social media. Therefore, I feel like I'm not in the loop when it comes to protests. Now, I seen a post that you put on one of the pages today, Stel, talking about that there's a high percentage that aren't on social media. And I'm a massive, I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you anymore. And is that, is that testament to what I'm about to say? People are saying that the protests will get nasty and there'll be lots of people there. Now, I feel like I've not had anything to do with social media. Therefore, I've not seen anything to do with the protests. I've seen little bits and bobs, little snippets, but I don't feel that same kind of,
I'm not
uprising of this protest. So therefore, what I'm trying to ask to all the group is, no, I know, and people are saying they're trying to tell us we know the group, we know what group it is, and each to their own. I'm just trying to ask: is there a genuine belief that there will be thousands turning up, or are they expecting hundreds? I don't know.
I'm a bit like you, mate. The only social media I bother with is the couple of pages I run on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I don't really. I dip in and out of Twitter every once in a blue moon, so I don't keep up to date with it. I know there's the demonstrations that are going on. There's talk about it is going to be quite large scale, quite heavily supported. I put a post on my Facebook page today about it. I've got my views. I'm not a board fan. I don't like them. I think they're a shoddy bunch of people who don't know how to run a football club. But I don't know about this demonstration. I just feel like, as I said in my post, I feel like where the horse has already bolted. The demonstrations should have really started in earnest when we were still at the Bowl Inn, and there should have been a proper movement back then to try and get the board to stop us from moving. you know. And I'm not saying it's the fans' fault, you know, for not doing that, but we could have, if you know, we look how passionate we are about what's happening at the moment. If we had that same amount of passion and not bought into the crap that we were sold, then maybe, just maybe, we might never have moved to the bowl to out of the bowling, or maybe when we moved into the London Stadium, it would have been in a much better footballing state than it currently is. You know, and I just, you know, I don't, you know, I wish that the demonstration well. I won't be part of it. You know, it's not for me. And you know, and I know there's talk about, you know, they want to engage with the board, etc. Well, there is a group that engages with the board, and anyone can actually apply to join. You can actually, you know, they have votes every year, the OSB, and you can put your name. Anyone can put their name down and get enough votes, and they'll be put on the OSB. And I think the way to do it is if the board aren't going to engage with Hammers United or Worcester or anybody else, then get in the other way. You know, find a way of getting onto the OSB and have your say through that. You know, because at least that way you will be in front board. But you know, I wish them well. You know, I hope it is peaceful. I hope there's no trouble. I think that's the last thing we need right now. You know, it's sort of deja vu of what happened a couple of seasons ago when David Moyes was in charge, and when we went 1-0 down against Burnley, and we were still in the game even though we were losing 1-0. And then, you know, mayhem started in the stadium. And I know this is all about it happening outside the stadium. I'm aware of that. But I hope it stays outside the stadium. And I hope that anger, that vitriol doesn't come into the stadium. If it starts affecting the players, you know, then I don't think we'll, if that happens, I don't think we'll survive relegation battle this season. I think we'll end up going down. And that's what I fear. And that's not, I'm putting don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting for a minute that this demonstration will have anything to do with us getting relegated, but it could have an impact. You know, players know what's going on. They're on social media. They see what's happening. They're aware of fans upset, etc. So, I don't know, mate. Good luck to them. You know, I hope it's as peaceful a demonstration and what.
Yeah, a couple of comments that were coming in from the board in particular. Yeah, I'm just losing you a little bit still. I'll just carry on until you get yourself back in. But a couple of things that annoyed me today were Gold's approach to promises. And, you know, it's just like it was a bit naive in his comments, just saying, you know, we can make promises, but sometimes they just don't happen and blah, 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 blah. But I tell you what, still, when you were at the Westfield Centre signing up for your season tickets, you were made to feel like these promises were going to come true. You were made to feel like we were going to be challenging the top four. You were made to feel like we were going to be qualifying for the Champions League. And it's just working their way back ever so slightly. Guys, we are doing an Everton preview. This is relevant, so we'll continue.
Yeah, I deny. I you know, told something that has just not materialised. I don't deny. I fell for it. A lot of fans fell for it, and we kind of, you know, we had a dream, didn't we? And that dream is soon, you know, fizzled out. The dream has died. It's been a bit of a nightmare, a dream, really. And it's a shame, you know. I've seen a message post by West Ham Fan TV saying talk about football. I don't know. I'm not on it, so I don't know. But from what I understand, the OSB are fans as well, and they get voted onto the OSB, and you should, I would guess, if you're on the OSB, you should be able to talk, you know, have an agenda that you can discuss. I might be wrong. I don't know, because I'm not in it. I talk about. I see once in a blue moon the messages, the reports that they put out from their meetings, but I don't know. It's not that I don't care. It's that I just want board right now to sort of get it right. I just want, however they're going to do it, I want the board to get it right. And whether that's through Hammers United, whether it's through the OSB or whatever, you know, they need to have some dialogue. My suggestion on my post was, I think all these groups have got to put their differences to one side and get together. Just get together as one, you know, because Worcester's got a different agenda to Hammers United's got a different agenda, and so on and so forth. And whilst that happens, whilst each group has got a different agenda, you know, if we can't agree as what we want to discuss, why would the board even bother to listen? You know, and I think we should. I think, you know, Hammers United and Worcester should just find a way to work together and go in unison, and then maybe the board might, fingers crossed, might take some notice. You know.
Forever.
West Ham fans
forever.
Say, oh, yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll take your word for it that they're not allowed to talk about football.
But still, I mean, in relation to that comment, in relation to the comment that's come up, what West Ham Fan TV are saying there, that we know some people also that are telling us that they do talk about football. So I think it's the portraying message that we're given. You know, I don't know. Maybe does one of these groups need to attend and because they say I mean they must release the minutes of that meeting.
They do release minutes, but I haven't read them for ages, so I can't remember what's on there, to be honest with you. Yeah,
I think for the biggest thing is that we've decided we don't want to take any part in any kind of form of groups or anything. You know, we kind of nearly went to get involved in one before, and we just thought, nah, it's not really what we want to do. But I don't really think you'll find any pro board people in our page. But
your link is going a bit slow, mate.
Yeah, it's actually I think yours is. I think yours is the one that's gone slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you're kind of a bit jittery. Too many fan groups. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. I do think there's too many groups and too many people trying to speak to the board at too many different levels. I think everyone thinks, like you said, still they've all got their own agendas. People are trying to speak for the fans. At the end of the day, we're all West Ham, and we all want the same thing. We all want it to be successful. It's just, for me personally, I think these particular protests aren't good timing. I think if they want to do the protests, it needs to be built up properly. You maybe need to do some market research and go around the stadium and physically talk to people and not rely so much on social media. Social media is important, but it's not the be all and end all.
Do you know one way to hit the board where it hurts is not spending at the shop money. You know, I am related. You know, that will hurt them. If all the fans boycotted, say for example, the fans did a boycott on the shop and went in there to buy a single thing, only they lose in that one day. You know, that way, you know, if you want to engage the fans in some way, boycott the shop. You know, but what I said earlier, like there's, like, you know, a lot of this is happening on social media, but there's an awful lot of fans that don't follow social media. There's an awful lot of fans that, you know, don't engage themselves with what's going on Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. So they'll hear about these protests, but they don't really engage with it. I've got a mate I play football with on Thursday nights, a West Ham fan, football? And he's not on any social. Yes, mate, even at my age. And not on social media. Oh, I've heard about this demonstration on Saturday. What's it about? And I explained to him, he went, oh, okay. Well, there are going to be a lot of people there. And he genuinely had no idea about it. So it was like, you know, I don't know, Hammers United have got something like 8,000 followers or something like that. So I know there's a big social media following, and I don't doubt that there'll be quite a lot of people going to this demonstration on Saturday. But there's 30,000 fans that don't follow social media, go to a West Ham. It's how you've got to find a way of engaging with those people, the people that actually don't follow all this stuff on social media. We need to find a way of engaging with them, and maybe something like, you know, a leaflet, you know, that says this is what it's all about. You know, boycott the shop for a day. You know, on hit where it hurts in their pockets. maybe then the board might start going, hang on a minute, because all they know about is money. The board care about money. They've saved themselves a hell of a fortune in leaving the Boleyn. They've saved themselves a hell of a fortune in not spending money in the transfer window, etc., etc., etc. So hit them where it hurts. Hit them in the pocket. And that maybe, just maybe, they might start taking some notice. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, mate. I'm just throwing it curveballs out.
It's pretty relevant. We're talking about it because it's been so prominent in the media today. I think we put out a tweet today saying to the boards, like, come on the channel, talk to us. We fully expect that they won't, but we just thought we'd reach out. Is there any harm? Like, no. So don't blame anyone else for wanting to do it. Why not? Just go ahead and try and get them. But we all know they're not going to come on. We all know they're not going to do these shows, these channels. But the offer is always there.
Well, Ryan on West Ham fan TV, good suggestion about maybe some of all these social sort of go, and engage the board with having a meeting or whatever. And that sounds like a really good idea, actually, because they won't entertain any. But why not do that? Why not go under one banner and do it? I'd be up for that.
I think the main thing is
not. We all want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We all want answers. And maybe that's the West Ham fan TV have got a map. Let them lead the way on it. Be more than happy to back that.
Yep, absolutely. We are, of course, here for Everton preview. So let's get talking about that. Unless you want to say anything else still on the stuff we've just mentioned.
You're still breaking up.
You're jumping about. Mate. So are you.
You sound like a robot. But I'm actually fine.
So I'm hoping that everyone's coming in here saying no one's complaining. So maybe it's just me and you that have got issues with each other, which we knew that anyway. So.
Should we get on to the game?
Yeah, let's get on to the game. So, of course, we're targeting a second successive home win, where we need to increase the 1 point gap from above the bottom three. But Carlo Ancelotti is chasing a fourth win in 5 matches for Everton to try and break into the top half. Still, Everton, Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, what do we expect for Saturday?
Do you know, mate? If Ancelotti to replace Pellegrini, it would have ended up doing nothing that he's done at Everton. That's just our luck, isn't it? Yeah. He's got them playing the way that we know, with the sort of players they got. He's got them the way that they should be playing.
Yeah.
And don't we wish the same at West Ham? And Pellegrini wasn't a bad manager, but I don't know what went wrong there. But Carlo Ancelotti is certainly not a bad manager. He's managed some top teams around around Europe, and he's come to Everton. And I actually thought when they brought Ancelotti in, I've got to be honest with you, I thought that was shades of a Pellegrini signing. That he'll come in for the money, he won't really give a shit, and he'll probably do all right. But he's a class manager. He's come in.
Sorry, guys. Still, we are breaking up, and I've just had some comments coming in saying it seems to be that you are jumping. So I'll continue with some of the information. We'll try and get Still back on if we can. He's just gone completely silent there. It looks like Felipe Anderson's going to miss the game. They are going to assess this injury closer to the time, and it looks like he's taken a knock off, obviously, after the Sheffield United game, something that's affecting his hip. Masuaku will miss out for the game on Saturday, and I think the game will be too soon for Antonio to come back in. He's just kind of rejoined the first team for training. And obviously this week we signed Randolph back from Middlesbrough, and he's trained today and he's apparently looking quite decent. So there is some rumours kicking about saying that they may give him a chance and start him. And see if he's fit. It's Moyes' signing. I can see it, to be honest. So I'll be interested to see what kind of goes on there. With regards to Everton, they are missing Mina, who is a major doubt, and of course Iwobi is out, which I think is going to be big misses for them. Hopefully we'll have Stell back on here just now. We've got you, Stell.
I don't know what's going on, mate, because anyway,
yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, we've got you now.
Right.
Okay. So I've just quickly went through the rundown of what players are missing for West Ham. It looks like Anderson's taken a knock from Sheffield United with his hip. Masuaku's missing. This game's going to come too soon for Antonio. And there are rumours kicking about with regards to Randolph starting the game. It is a Moyes signing. Stelios, what do you do? I mean, if he is fit, do you just put him straight into the side?
I think it's too risky to play Randolph. I think he needs to get to know the squad. He needs to get to know the defenders he's going to be playing with. He's only of the players that were there last time he was there. It was only Cresswell and Ogbonna. You know, so he doesn't know Balbuena. He doesn't know. Was Zabaleta there? I can't.
No.
They probably missed.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know Zabaleta. He doesn't know Diop. He doesn't know Balbuena. I think it's a little bit of a risk to play him straight away. I think Martin will probably start, despite his awful error against Sheffield. And I think you may see Randolph starting next game that's coming up. I think it's Leicester in midweek. So I'll be really honest. I think
we're losing Stell again. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening there. We are talking about the Randolph debate, whether or not is he going to be fit enough to start. What do you guys think? I know some of the comments are coming in. Are you there, Stell? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know what's going on with the link, mate. I keep switching it from 4G to internet, and it seems to be no better.
Well, we'll just keep going. If you cut off Stell, then don't worry about it. We'll keep going. But, I mean, if Randolph's fit, do you want to see him start?
If Randolph's fit, do I want to see him start? I used to be an Adrian fan. Used to have this debate, you know, between who's better, Adrian or Randolph. And I always thought Adrian was better, although they both had mistakes in them. But having said that, Randolph has sort of resurrected his career in some sort of way with Middlesbrough. You know, he was in their champion. He was in the championship team of the season last season. He's kept a phenomenal number of clean sheets, something like 19 odd clean sheets or something ridiculous. So I won't mind seeing him start. I'm not sure if it's right for him to start, but if he does start, I won't mind it.
Yeah, I think it's a Moyes signing. If he's fit, he's had nearly a week in training. I mean, unless they think it's risky, they've given him another week of fitness behind him. That's the sensible, probably, decision to make. But when he is fit and whilst Fabianski can't play, and Randolph does come in there, then it looks like he should start the game. Obviously, we've got Matt on the thing. They're giving us some more information. 20 clean sheets. Ireland #1, Championship Keeper of the Year, and decade. So some interesting information there on Randolph. Did you know that none of West Ham's last 11 Premier League matches have ended level? We've won 3 and lost 8 of those fixtures, which is not great. Everton have won 7 of their last 11 Premier League away matches against West Ham, with only the defeat coming in 2017-18 season. Everton have won 3 of the 4 Premier League encounters under Ancelotti, as many as they had in their previous 14 games combined. They are averaging 16 shots, of which over 5 of them are on target per match under Ancelotti, compared to the 13 attempts and 4 on target before his arrival. And some other stat for you, which is Ancelotti is looking for his first ever Premier League victory over David Moyes at the 5th attempt. The Scot is the only manager Ancelotti has faced more than twice with it beaten in the competition. Well, just a couple of
we're the gift that keeps on giving, aren't we? And my fear is that Ancelotti will finally get his win over Moyes on Saturday. They're a hard team to beat, you know, but we've got to be the one good thing with Moy. I know we'll come on to West Ham in a minute, but you know that Everton have got a decent squad. You know, they've actually got a really decent squad, and it's going to be it's not going to be easy for us, you know, to sort of hold them back. They've got some good attacking players, and it's going to be a tricky game on Saturday. It sure is.
In the last 5 games in the league, West Ham have won 2, scoring 7, conceding 5. Everton, of course, have won 3, scoring 5, conceding 3. Everton currently sit 11th to West Ham's 16th, with 8 wins overall, which Everton have. 10 losses. West Ham have got 6 wins, 11 losses. So there's not a humongous amount of difference there. Players at Everton that concern you. I mean, when Richarlison signed from Watford, I think he was probably slagged off the heaviest for such a high transfer fee. There's no ifs and buts about it. He's a quality player.
We were all a bit surprised. We were all a bit surprised that Everton went for him, and we're kind of scratching our heads, wondering, you know, what's all this about? And he's proven to be an excellent player for him. You know, and one could argue the sort of player that we might, you know, we could well do with. And he's very much he's the sort of player that, you know, you're watching an Everton game and you hardly hear his name mentioned, and all of a sudden up he pops and scores a goal. And he seems to get into the right places at the right time, and he's a tricky one, and he's going to be quite difficult to sort of watch out for on Saturday. Yeah, he's definitely a threat.
He's joint top goal scorer with youth prospects and hit the ground running for Everton, Calvert-Lewin, who's also got 8 goals. So between them, they've got 16 goals. That's goals that we so desperately want to score. Compared to Sebastian Haller's got 6. Fair play, he's got 6, but the problem is that the players in and around him aren't scoring either. These are the 2 guys that I personally worry about the most, because we are defensively not great. We've had so much inconsistency at the back. I don't know how many more times I'm going to have to say that word, inconsistency. And it looks like potentially we're going to have more inconsistency this weekend if Randolph does start. Some other rumours are kicking about that maybe Balbuena will be dropped for the game. So, I mean, if you're Ancelotti and you're Everton and you're under this, what do you think Ancelotti's going to do? I mean, I've read some stats there that talk about attack. You've got to look at their side still. You've got a rejuvenated Walcott, who the last time out against West Ham looked like a world beater. You've got Bernard, who West Ham chased and screwed up, and he scored against West Ham the last time out. Tricky individual, decent player. Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison up top. Sigurdsson, who can just pick a pass, who can score goals himself. And then they've got Davis, who just controls that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. They've got a lot of players, and our problem is going to be that to try and contain them. And you know, I think the one thing that we all know that we're kind of lacking in West Ham is how we play on midfield, and how we seem to get run quite a lot, especially against really attack-minded players. So against the likes of Walcott, against the likes of Bernard, etc., against the likes of Richarlison, we don't have players that I think that can counter those sorts of attacking players. And you know, it's going to be difficult for so many attack-minded players. I think, you know, I hope not. I hope it's a completely different game to what I've got in my head. But I hope we're not going to be under siege on Saturday. You know, and it'll feel like us being the away team rather than the home. We need to find a way of going out and attacking them. Yeah, Pellegrini, whole of attack-minded players as well. They just haven't gelled in the same way as Everton attack-minded players seem to gel, and I think that's going to be the trick, isn't it? It's going to be, we're going to have to find a way of containing all their attack-minded players, and that ain't going to be easy, you know. And especially when we sort of lack pace at the back as well. You know, Zabaleta has been a great servant to West Ham, but as we all say, I think it's a season too many for him. And he's obviously going to start unless Ben Johnson is back fit again and maybe might make the squad. If Masuaku's going to be missing, then we've got. I reckon we'll probably play with a flat back four on Saturday, and that flat back four is going to have to probably defend. I don't want them to defend quite deeply, but it will suit Zabaleta's game because he's slow. If we defend the high line against the likes of Richarlison, Bernard, etc., we might lose a goal or two from a high line.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of tactics we play against them because they've got some very skillful players. Walcott, he looked like a bloody world beater last time he played us. It's just it's probably the best game he's had all season. But there you go.
Let's get onto West Ham, our beloved roller coaster of a club, West Ham. Last time out, we got beat by Sheffield United. Gutted. I was just gutted after that game.
Gutted because it was a mistake, and had what happened, we would it have been a creditable draw from there? And that bloody goal. I mean, knowing our, that the rules will be reviewed halfway through this season. Well, we're halfway through the season. The VAR and the handball rules will be reviewed, and the next time out, will handball score a goal. That's what happens with West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that goal. I mean, how it was disallowed is just, everybody said it. The fans, the pundits, the players. Everyone said it was just such a ridiculous decision that went against us. But, we lost because of a mistake. And it, apart from that, they had their chance. Had quite a few. We kind of contained them apart from that one mistake. And that was what was so galling. One mistake to lead to their goal and VAR, which allowed our goal, our perfectly good goal.
I suppose the biggest talking point, another talking point from, not the biggest, but one of the talking points from the last game, and probably will be this game, is the underperforming Lanzini and the drop of Fornals. I mean, will we see Fornals come straight back into the side again? Will Lanzini be dropped? What is it with Lanzini? Is Lanzini just lost form? Is he interested?
You know what? I don't know, mate. I think the only reason why I can think Lanzini was picked over Fornals is because more better. Maybe he's trying to find his way with Fornals. But for goodness sake, he, Moyes must have done his homework before he took the job on to see how good Fornals is becoming. It took a while for the fella to start getting decent, and all of a sudden he hit form, and then he was dropped, and it seemed really, really odd. That Lanzini got the nod over Fornals, and I don't know what's going on with Lanzini. Everyone says that the best season he had was the season he had with
Payet.
Name that French fella that we shouldn't name, and Payet,
I thought Lanzini had a good start to the season though. He started off quite well in the season, in my opinion, and then he just dropped off.
He's fallen away, and I don't know what's going on, and it's interesting, the transfer window. And I've been saying on my shows that maybe, there might be a top name player that might go in order to allow us to buy a few other players in. And if there was anyone I think that maybe we should consider maybe letting go of, I think that's Lanzini, to be honest with you, because he just doesn't seem to be the jewel that we all came to love. And I don't know what's happening. Whereas at least you can see like Anderson doesn't always come off for him, but he tries. You've got the Snodgrass, that always gives you 100%.
Still,
even Allaire, who's been accused of lazy, is trying as well. But Lanzini, like last Friday night, Lanzini, all he had to do was knock it at Allaire, who had an open goal, but he tried to go for goal instead and missed that chance. And it looked like a player that was desperate to get a goal in order to sort of build his confidence up again. Whereas he would have been a bigger hero had he just sort of knocked it square and let Allaire finish the ball on, And I don't know what's going on with Lanzini. I don't know if it's that he doesn't care. I don't think it's that, but he's certainly not 100%.
I'm going to bring Anderson into this equation because I think I mentioned it in my review, but I do think he gets a bit of a tough time. But do you know what? I genuinely believe between him and Snodgrass, who were the only two players that tried last week, the thing you've got to look at with Anderson is every time he got the ball, he tried to attack. He looked around, no one else was giving him support. he is trying things. He is trying to attack. But if there's no other player around him thinking on the same wavelength, then what else is he going to do? Like, that's my biggest concern still about the Sebastian Haller situation. It's like, for that one game, he had support, felt great. Then suddenly, he's back up.
A lot of him. We see an awful lot of him. Whereas maybe in his first season, where he had players overlapping him, so when he did run with the ball and you get into the 18-yard box, there was someone that he could pass it to finish off or whatever. And that's not been happening this season. It seems to me that he gets to the 18-yard box and then he's accused by people. It's like, why are you stopping? Why are you stopping? But he can only do what he sees in front of him. And if he doesn't see anything of him, then he can't lay the ball off to anybody. And it kind of, you know.
Guys, sorry, we've lost Stel. I don't know what's happening with his feed. We were talking about Anderson, and it's looking likely that he may miss, and I think that's going to be a big miss for West Ham, but maybe an opportunity for Moyes. We've got Stel back in here, hopefully. A lot of people are saying, Stel, must be your internet connection. So, listen, Stel, we've been on a long time tonight. That's fine. Let's get on to team selection. It's going to be a tough one, to be honest, because it looks like potentially Lanzini. I mean, who do you want to see start? Do you want to see Lanzini start? Do you want to see him get dropped? Do you want Fornells to come in and take over his position? My biggest concern here, guys, still is the fact that Sebastian Haller is up top alone and he's not supported. He's a main striker. He's our record signing. He's got goals in him. But if not supported, why not play to his strengths? It's great that we're packing out the midfield and the defence. It's fantastic. But we are not supporting this guy up top. Hopefully we have Stel back one more time. He's back.
What a disaster tonight, mate. What is going on?
Yeah, you have had a disaster, Stel.
Oh, mate, I don't know. I think I'll smash my whole system up and start again. But anyway,
listen, we're coming to the tail end of this. Still, we've covered Anderson when you left, when you disappeared there. The last point I was making was Sebastian Haller, up top alone. You know, what is it that's going to rock the brains of the West Ham management, the coaching system, that's going to go support the guy, support him, give him support? What is the point? What is the point in packing out our midfield and packing out our defence if you're just going to leave the big man up top himself, hoping he gets one chance, but we need to score 3 goals because the opposition have scored 2? Like, what is the point? Yeah.
The support he needs is Gabby Gold. His name is permanent.
Guys, Stel's gone. I'm not bringing him back in. He's not going to like it, but I can't do it because he's all over the shop with his internet connection tonight. Get your thoughts in. Let us know who you think who will be starting. Wayne, I do think it's going to be a big miss with Anderson because actually, if you look back at the Sheffield United game, I think it was probably him and Snodgrass came on as a sub, but him and Anderson were literally the only 2 players that were looking for creativity to try something. And if he doesn't make it on Saturday, I really think it's going to be a huge miss. But there's rumours that are saying that potentially Balbuena will get dropped. But, I mean, do we really want to see Zabaleta in his position? I thought he'd done all right, but I still think Sheffield United attacked him down that position. Masuaku is going to be missing. So does that change the whole formation? 4-4-2. I can see Creswell, I can see Ogbonna, I can see Balbuena, and I can see Zabaleta. But there's no harm in making the suggestion that you bring in Diop and play the 3 of them. They're 3 centre halves, but play them in a back 4 and let the guys do the job. The right-footed players do the job, and the left-footed players do their job. But just something needs to change at the back for me. And if that means Randolph's coming in as well, then that's what needs to happen. Midfield, going to pack it out, probably Rice, Noble. For me, Fornals needs to come back in. I pray and I hope that Anderson will be fit, but we'll see. And I think it depends whether or not he starts, probably, is whether or not Snoddy starts. But you've got two players sitting on the bench, Snoddy and Fornals, who are creative. Fornals is coming into the Premier League. He's starting to show a bit of form recently. And Snodgrass, we know what he's capable of. He gives 100%, and that's just what we kind of need on the park just now. I just don't want to see Sebastian Haller up top himself. I'm going to try and bring Stell in one more time, and we're going to do the predictions. So, Stell, you're back. We're only bringing you back for the predictions of the game. Before we give the predictions of the game, get your comments in and let us know your predictions.
Get off this.
Yeah, we need to get you off. And everyone's saying in the group that you need to put your 50p in your internet connection and actually pay for your internet bill.
It's your internet, mate. You've been having electricity up. For goodness sake, you got your cat peddling the wheels to actually generate the electricity up there, haven't you?
Oh God, mate! Listen, if there was a big enough lead, I would send it to you right now and try and give you some internet connection. Anyway, we're getting all the predictions in. We've got 5-1 to West Ham. Matt's on the chat doing 1 each West Ham. Obviously draw. Wayne saying 1-0 West Ham. Forever saying 5-1 because Alf said so. True. Alf's had a couple of wines tonight. West Ham 2-0. Everton will score. West Ham 1 each. 2-0. So, Stell, what's your prediction?
All right, prediction. I'm going to say 3-2 West Ham.
3-2 West Ham. Good. Like it. 3 points. Positivity. No problems inside the stadium, which is what we want. Yep. And I'm going to go for... remember I said, guys, I'm a positive West Ham fan. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to West Ham. So walk away with 3 points, score 3 goals, stuff it to Ancelotti. Just go and get the points and back the side. That's all we need to do. Listen, apologies for Stell's internet connection. He just needs to pop onto his direct debits and get them set up and start paying his bills. We will get it sorted for the next time we are around. Everyone be safe on Saturday. Let's not cause too much of a concern. Let's not embarrass the football club. We know the owners are embarrassing. We don't need to embarrass it anymore. We've put our predictions in. Fingers crossed we get something from the game. Still, you're at the game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there again, but I'll be down for the Brighton game. And of course, we'll be at the supporters club, so we'll be doing videos.
You've got it again.
We'll be we'll be doing videos from the supporters club. So make sure if you're there, come over and have a chat with us, and we'll get your fan cams on to the show as well. Thanks for tuning in. Stell's disappeared, obviously, with no internet. My name's Anton. This is Irons United, and make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Come on, you Irons.